Hello, everybody. I went down to my favorite bookstore, the Bookmark in Charlottetown here, to buy some pencil leads for a mechanical pencil I had, and started looking around as I usually do, and I came home with this. It's called a Metacil, and it's a Japanese product. All the labeling is in Japanese, so I had to look up online to find out exactly what it was, but I actually knew what it was as soon as I saw it. And I was kind of excited, so I wanted to pick it up and see how it works. It comes in this rather attractive little box. There's some information there. Unfortunately, I don't speak Japanese. But I had actually, in my youth, used a product similar to this. I had a silver point pencil, and what it was is an old style tool for drawing. You had to use prepared paper, or you could use it on regular paper, but mostly you used it on prepared paper with a bit of grit. And it made a beautiful sort of Renaissance style lines. Not that I was doing Renaissance style drawings by any means. And I must have given it away. I don't know where it is. Every now and then I go through my studio, package up things, give them to friends, ship them off, that type of thing. So you open up this little box, which I'm having a hard time doing because I'm talking. And inside you get this. Oh, actually, this is my first viewing of this up close. You get this, and it's heavier than I thought. And it says Metacil. Because it's a metal pencil. The tip is aluminum graphite alloy. Doesn't need to be sharpened, and you just draw with it. Now, I don't think I'm going to get great variation in tone with the pencil. I've read online that it's like a HB pencil, which is nice. But for sketching, drawing in things, I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy this. The great idea behind this is that, unlike a pencil, you don't have to sharpen it. It doesn't get dirty, so you can carry it around in your bag. And you can replace the tip, apparently, from what I've understood. Oh, yes, it unscrews. Let's see. So that unscrews. You can buy replacement tips. And I don't know if you can buy different hardnesses. It would be really cool if you could buy a softer tip, but I'm unsure if you can do that. But you can buy replacement tips when it does get worn down. It will probably take a long time for it to wear down in comparison to, say, a regular pencil. So we're going to do just a little test with it here. I'm going to turn on a light. I'm sitting in the dark almost. Oh, okay. So yeah, it is like an HB pencil. I'm just scribbling just to get used to it. Oh, okay. That's actually quite interesting. If you turn it on your side, you can sort of do heavy shading. Using the tip, you get a nice fine point. As you can see there. Not a lot of tonal variation, but I wasn't expecting that. This is a nice sort of, it must be aluminum body with hexagonal shape to it. So it feels nice in the hand. At the end, it says Metacil. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that properly. What else does it say? I cannot read what it says. Anyway, I can't tell. Now, it has a good weight to it. It's a lot heavier than a normal pencil. I don't know the exact weight. Looks about the same length as a normal pencil. It's 6 1/4 inches long. Pencil. I'm just going to do some little sketching with it just to see. Now, this would be great just to toss in your bag. You could probably like do a rough sketch or do a finished sketch with it. You won't get a lot of variation to the line, of course. But if you're just wanting to, work on something and get it started, this would probably come in quite handy, It is a fine line. I actually, because I usually do watercolors, and when I'm drawing in, I like to use a hard lead, and I often use a mechanical pencil. But I can see this actually being very handy. I can also see this being the type of thing that when you're starting a drawing, don't don't judge me on this drawing. It's nothing. I'm just doodling. When you're starting a drawing, you could probably rough it in using this, and then go over it with, say, a marker. Well, I don't recommend markers. Go over it with a fountain pen with carbon black in it, platinum carbon black, and build up there. Or do your rough sketch and then go over it with watercolors, or do a sketch, get everything all your basic structure laid down, and then go over it with other pencils, black wing pencils or something like that. But this would be great if you're, just sitting somewhere, doing some light sketching, little notes. I like pencils a lot. Like I say I use mechanical pencils or technical pencils all the time, and I do. And the reason is I don't have to sharpen them. I dropped it. You don't have to sharpen them. But in reality, I do if I'm drawing for drawing's sake in my studio, I do prefer a pencil. But the problem with the pencil is you have to sharpen it. Now, this is kind of an interesting... Where do I place this? I'm just trying to think. Does this replace a mechanical pencil for me? Does this replace a pencil for me? Probably not. It's a very interesting product. It's very novel. In some way, I prefer the feeling of this than, say, a mechanical pencil or a technical pencil, whichever you call it. It has that nice feeling of a pencil, mostly because of the shape of it, of course, as you can see. Right. Now, I'm going to do some research, find out if I can get a softer tip. Also, I'm just using a Baron Fig sketchbook here. I'm going to do some experimenting with different papers. For instance, in this notebook, it doesn't show up at all. So, yeah. And this is... This is a Maraman notebook, and drawing in that, it doesn't show up at all. So you do need a paper that's better for drawing. The Baron Fig, not the most spectacular drawing paper, but on, say, an art bristle with a bit of tooth to it, or a piece of watercolor paper, I think it would work quite nicely. And, the professional I am, I did not bring any watercolor paper. And I'm just going to pause this video, and I'm going to run and get some watercolor paper. I'm back. So I have a watercolor paper, and I just have a piece of bristle paper, drawing paper. And this is Saunders watercolor paper, a really nice tooth to it. Beautiful paper to paint on. We're just going to hopefully not ruin this. And the other thing is, this is erasable. Apparently you can erase this. And professional I am, I forgot to bring an eraser. So what do we got here? Now that isn't showing up particularly well. Actually, it shows up better on the barren fig. But since this is watercolor paper, I don't mind that it doesn't show up, because quite often when I'm starting a watercolor, I'll just lightly sketch it in, and then I'm going to go over that with paint. Eventually when I'm drawing, I'm often just roughing in shapes. The interesting thing about this, because it's metal, I'm thinking that you could almost incise the paper slightly, so that when you go over it with watercolor, the line will become darker where you had drawn. You start off, I think if you start off light and then apply pressure, incise the paper, when you go over it with watercolor, it will go into the lines and you will get some very interesting effects. I'm thinking that might happen. Yes, I'm drawing a very rough chicken here. Because I like painting chickens. I like fancy chickens. I can really feel that sort of digging into the paper, which is actually quite nice. Quite often, if I want that effect, what I use is the end of a paintbrush. Sometimes there's like a sharp edge on the end of a paintbrush, especially with watercolors, and you use that sharp edge to score the paper, essentially. And then when you go over it, the watercolor pools in the line and you get a darker line. So, yeah, I think this is going to actually be a handy tool for something like that. I'm going to be able to get lots of interesting effects, on a piece of watercolor. Set that aside. I'll work on it later. Let's see how it is on this piece of drawing bristle. Oh yeah, it's a little darker on the drawing bristle. This is just a rough piece that I have sitting around. Not drawing anything in particular, just scribbling. Shows up. It's like a hard pencil, like a HB hard, 2H, something like that. I tend to prefer a B pencil, a soft. I like an HB, but this is more like an H pencil. Very hard. So, what do I like about this and what don't I like about this? Well, the first thing I probably don't like about it is that it is a bit hard. That if I can get this with a softer tip, I would definitely buy a refill and swap it out. It is going to go into my drawing kit, and I will be using this with watercolors. I'm going to experiment with some different papers I have kicking around here, find a notebook that it works best in, even though actually it works quite well in the barren fig. Because sometimes you don't want to start with a dark pencil. Sometimes when you're drawing, and especially if it's like, a sketch or something, you want to rough it in. This is perfect. This is great for outdoor urban sketching. You can do a light sketch and then go home, go over it with darker, softer leads, etc. It's very stylish. I like that about it. I like the weight of it. I like the feel of it. The only thing I don't like about it is it is hard. But all in all, I think it was a good purchase. I'm a sucker for Japanese stationery. What can I say? Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Just me rambling on. Have you tried this? Do you find it effective? What's the best paper to use with this Metacil? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.